So, we are broadcasting from outside. It is January 10th. It is Tuesday afternoon, 1 o'clock, time for Hug Nation. If you're watching this on the archives, well then it is Hug Nation time. Now. You are now made different. It is a vibration that we join in, not a space and time. Space? It is an intention, it is a love vibration, it is a correction, a recalibration towards harmony, towards oneness. And so thank you for being a part of this. I've been thinking a lot about how what we define as I is this very abstract and simplified concept. You know, if you were to ask, where do you end and not you begin, I think a lot of people would say the skin, you know, this porous membrane. But how much of what is inside that skin is functioning without any thought of yours? How much of your glands and your ducts and your organs are simply doing their thing, whether you're asleep, whether you're awake, whether you're conscious, whether you're not? You actually have almost no control over it. Maybe with some training and biofeedback, you can start to slow things down. But we think of this as us. What we really, when most people are talking about the I, we're talking about the perspective of our senses and the collected memories and experiences that we acquire from that perspective. But this body houses so much more. In fact, within this body contains all sorts of organisms that are totally separate life forms in us, and they work tandem with us and to digest, to do all sorts of things that perhaps we don't even understand, but we live in this balance way beyond thought. And so if that is the case, if the boundary of our skin actually has other life inside us and all sorts of things that we don't have mental control over, these patterns of breath and heartbeat, then how can we really say that is the line? And if it is a blurry line, then how is, as my breath impacts the environment around me, how is that not part of me? How is the plants that are photosynthesizing that I'm dependent on, as dependent I am on these microbes in my gut? How is that not part of me? Well, my perspective knowledge is that it absolutely is me. It's just what dialogue are we having? What conversation are we having? The I of my experiences and my memories and my ego, you know, doesn't identify with the plant, but when I surrender to the self, to the I, to the divine consciousness that I know that I am a part of, then it is all us. It is all one. And from that perspective, there is this huge release. Because if you are connected to all, then you are lacking nothing. There is no such thing as something that you don't have. As Dimitri said, it is scientifically impossible to miss out on anything because you are the fabric of the universe. Now, oops, this is frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna go upstairs and see if that helps. Welcome to Chapter 2 of the January 10th Hug Nation! You know, a lot of times, it is the things falling apart that helps you get to the most wonderful place. The Hugmobile is, what's the scientific term? Craps out, falls apart, breaks down. And people sometimes, when I eventually make it to an event that the Hugmobile did not, sometimes a day or more later than intended, there's always this, I'm so sorry! And you know what? Almost every time, by the time I've gone through it all, my reaction is, I'm not sorry. This was a beautiful experience in surrender. You know, there's a wonderful thing about arriving on the playa after already having gone through all of the surrender of letting go of expectations and plans, and then by the time you get to Burning Man, it's like, oh, roll with the punches, roll with this, roll with the windstorms that are always a part of life. So, well, it is quite fitting that today has been an opportunity and obstacles and an opportunity really for me to practice what I preach. So the things that I wanted to share this week were the opportunities that I've had to learn, practice, to stumble and fall, and then get myself up. Specifically regarding the ego desires for success. And, well, I'll say what happened. So 2 things came into my world and became the devil angel on my shoulder, tempting me with voices that I'm very susceptible to. One was I released the morning meditation right after New Year's, which is something that I worked pretty hard on, and it was a much more polished piece than I normally do. Worked with a producer, and there's music written for it, and all sorts of. So if you haven't listened to it, please, I encourage you to try it. Check in the morning. I listen to it every morning, and what happened was I forgot that I made it because it was something that I wanted to have and I wanted to make and I just wanted to create it. It happened because I let out a creative impulse and guided it. But as I started to watch the download numbers, even as I promoted it and I really kind of pushed it more than I do almost anything. I sent a note out to all of my Facebook friends, and even after all of promoting to everybody I know and getting almost spammy with my linking, it had very minimal downloads, which for some reason I was hung up on. This was a gift, and I wanted to give it to thousands of people, and less than 100 wanted it. And so my head started spinning in this place of, well, if you promote as much as possible and you can't give 100 things away, that's a pretty strong argument that you are not ready to pursue this as a profession, as a job, as a way to make a living. Like, there's just not the audience for you to transition from what I've been doing to make money into a more heart-centered line of work. And, I'm saying that now not because I believe it now, but I did believe it at the time. And that was the stumbling. That was the process of the voices of judgment and, all the negative voices trying to steer the circumstances that we're fine, we're great. The reality is people that I love were appreciating it. The reality is this thing that I wanted to birth, I did create. There's so many things to be excited about and be happy about and be proud about, but I got crap focused. I'm sharing this as an example. Sometimes people say, well, how do you get so... Phew. I have to practice this every day, just like all of us. And so then as I was dealing with that kind of frustration or kind of discouragement, another wonderful thing happened that my ego twisted into a negative thing. And that was the release of Teddy Saunders' Oh, the Places You'll Go, Dr. Seuss Burning Man video, which now has over 700,000 views in like 3 days. The first really viral video that has from Burning Man. It's gone way beyond burners into being shared on Boing Boing and Huffington Post and Reddit front page and all over the place. So a few things happen when this goes viral. Well, I should mention also that I was very much looking forward to seeing this video because I'm in it. The last line of the poem, I was honored to be asked to speak, and so I say the last line and then I skip away. So if you haven't seen it, when we're done here, please search for Burning Man, Dr. Seuss, and watch it on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. I'm so honored to be a part of it. But in this weakened mental state, in my fragile ego mind place, I wanted to have the popular video. After making, so many Burning Man videos and doing, dedicating so much of my life to talking about what's the Burning Man and sharing my love of it, and my ego was like, that's unfair. He's getting all, everyone, he's getting all the love and all the attention and all the accolades, and I want that. And I really had to kind of like look at this self of mine and be like, I don't like you at all. I don't like the way this feels. And crazier still is, you're in the video. 700,000 people have watched me skip in the last few days. That's pretty awesome. Still, the process, the recognition that we have these cycles and that it takes a constant practice of steering your mind, of experiencing thoughts that cause you suffering and going, do I want to live in this space? Do I want to, or is this something that I can set aside, look at, and break down and go, that is not the world that I want to live in? There was a moment during this weekend's first Saturdays, and it was actually, we went into our 3rd year of doing first Saturdays every month, and we had 85 volunteers and tons of donations. And when we finally sat down in the circle, and we packed the Prosperity Hive, and it was like filled, the circle was just, huge. Normally we say, make sure you're single file, now it's just like, hey, just try to get everybody in here. 85 people! And the first thing I said was, as I looked around, I was like, this is the kind of world that I want to live in. And I know now, when I'm in my right mind, living in that world is as simple as being a person like that in the world, and believing that that's the kind of world you live in, and following the things that remind you of that in the world, and being critical of the ideas and thoughts that don't give you evidence of that in the world. When I slipped up and I got into a funk type thoughts, it was when I started to measure the world in ways that I don't really believe. Like, I know my philosophy, my ideology, my worldview, cosmic view is that it is the direction that you're heading in that matters, not the distance you travel. It is the quest to be in alignment, not the magnitude of the action itself. So what our passion, our actions, our direction, our intention has to be is of aligning, of having integrity in that moment, in that action, in that space, and then acting from that space, and as best we can, with the knowledge that we do not have a vantage point to understand the grand scheme. And so if we act in integrity, and the results of that are minuscule, or maybe you don't even notice it. Maybe I worked so hard to make this video and nobody downloads it. The question to ask is not, what did I do wrong, or why do I suck? The question is just to go, did I act in integrity? And if so, the results are out of my hands. The results are in the hands of God, of the divine current, of the flow. And I have no way to judge the impact, the ripples of my actions. All I can know is, are they in the right direction? When I slipped out of that mind, then all these wonderful things suddenly became sources of pain and suffering for me. Now that I'm kind of back in my sanity, I can appreciate, I can have gratitude, I can recognize how much love and what insane opportunities I'm gifted to even be a part of a video like that, to be able to record like that, to have people who will help me do those things, or even when I ask if anybody is willing to say, you know what, 12 minutes of my day, I'll listen to that. That's a lot to ask in this crazy, wacky world of... So, if you have downloaded and listened to the Morning Blessing, thank you. I'm honored. If you have not yet, that's okay. If you never do, that's okay. The whole point of a gift is that it is without expectation. I had to honor myself in creating it. I believe it is wonderful and beautiful. It has already helped me. I hope it helps others, but that is that's not on me. So Again, just as this gathering today could have been a source of frustration because it didn't work like I wanted it to. I went downstairs, tried to broadcast, it didn't work, we blah, 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 blah. But if I can do what my grandpa taught me back when we used to have tons of technical problems and remind me my job in this moment is to have integrity, to align with love, and to be present. No matter what you're doing, no matter what's going on, align with love, have integrity, be present. And then have faith that the way you act, the things you do, the results of those things will be perfect. So if you are still here, if you are listening to the archive and you are still there, if you are feeling any sort of alignment with that love, with that vibration, with that truth, thank you for being a part of this now. Thank you for allowing this attempt at alignment with integrity and love and being present to be a part of your day. This recalibration of Hug Nation is powerful for me. I hope it is for you. I hope we can use this as a way to be that recalibrator as we go to the world. Have our eyes be gifts of loving kindness in everyone we see and meet. Doesn't matter how it's received. Doesn't matter the outcome. What matters is the integrity, the love, the being present. Thank you for being a part of this moment, whether live or archived or simply a thought. I feel that connection and that love. I'm truly honored to share this moment with you. Namaste. And now is the time on Hug Nation when we hug. So grab yourselves by the shoulders. Oh. And just marvel for a second at this body of yours. So much of the matter in the cosmos, if you, say, took a knife to it, you would alter it and create a division of those. Make two out of one. But you cut your skin, and it repairs itself. Put a Band-Aid on it, go to sleep. In a few days, you can barely tell that anything happened. You regenerate. You heal. Your bile ducts and your lymph nodes and your bone marrow is constantly working to create a thriving, living organism way beyond anything that you have in your thought, in your ego mind. It just is perfect and thriving, which gives us this amazing opportunity to receive, to experience the world, to smell and taste and feel. We are the way the universe experiences itself. We are the sensory organs of the divine. And when we surrender to that place, we are in the flow. And as we recognize that, we also acknowledge that we have a personality that we house, a collection of memories and beliefs and experiences. And it's very easy to get caught up and think that because we have so many of these vivid memories and experiences and have so much control over our world, that we are actually in control of our world. And we might forget how much happens without any control. So in this moment, let's let go of our personality. Let's let go of our to-do list, and let's let go of our plan. Let's let go of the belief that anything is an obstacle. Any person is in our way. Anybody is not in alignment. All we need to do is surrender, have integrity, be present, align with love. And as we forgive ourselves all the times we've gotten caught up in our personality and our stories, let's forgive everybody else. Let's see through their personality into that divine light inside them, into that fire, into that perfect cell that is a part of the cosmic one just as we are. Let's take a deep breath and just feel connected to all the other living things on this planet, all parts of the one. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb, happy Hug Nation. As you go into the week, remember that you are a vessel of love. You are an expression of the one. As you are what you want to see in the world, as you align with your best self, you are a demonstration, you are an inspiration. You are a gift. Thank you for being you in the world. I love you. Namaste.
You only live once. Enjoy the color.